Yo, hell yeah. Wyatt begins in like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Yo, welcome to Wyatt. And I'm your host, Wyatt O'Brien Evans. Grrr, woof, goddammit, woof, 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 woof. Hey, now listen to all my YouTubers out there. If you like what you hear, if you like what you see, just click that subscribe button at the bottom of your screen. Just click it, click it, click it. I love to click it. Yeah, I do. Anywho, today's Wyatt has the distinct pleasure of welcoming Harmonica Sunbeam, that internationally acclaimed drag performer, singer, actor, and a staunch supporter and advocate of LGBTQ plus and kids organizations. So hey, let's just get it on. And without further ado, Wyatt welcomes Harmonica Sunbeam, the comedy queen. And that rhymes. Talk at me, baby. How the hell are you?
Hey. I am fine. I am doing well. Hoping for nicer weather, but hey, we'll do what we got, right?
You got it. Well, Harmonica, thanks so much for stopping by. Wyatt, I must say that you look marvelous, simply marvelous.
Oh, this old thing.
And you're modest too. I love it. Well, first of all, let me tell you something. I had to do that because that's very cathartic for me. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why I say that, Missy, is because you're one hell of a super duper multi-hyphenate. I mean, your entertainment career and your advocacy have spanned nearly 3 decades. You're an internationally acclaimed drag performer. You're an actor. You're a speaker. You're a singer. You also are a staunch supporter of children's and LGBTQ plus organizations. So now look, do not break your hand patting yourself on the back. I just had to let our audience know about all of your accolades.
Let them know.
Oh, okay, but I'm really curious about this. And I always like to ask performers this question. Where did you come up with Harmonica Sunbeam? There's got to be a story behind that.
And there is. Okay.
All right.
Here's the story, right? So when I was in high school, 11th grade, just kind of like discovering myself, and I saw John Waters' film, Female Troubles.
Oh,
and
okay,
so me and my other 2 friends who were, gay and somewhat out, we decided we were going to have drag names too. And I named myself Macadamia Serendipity because I like macadamia.
I love it.
So Macadamia Serendipity because I like macadamia nuts. And then I was thinking ahead, and I said, wow, this name would be way too long to put on a marquee. All those letters you would need, and it would go across, So I changed it to Tequila Sunrise, right? Which is kind of like Cliché, a very famous movie, a very, popular drink in bars and things like that. But I kind of thought like, well, it's a name that somebody else could have too, because the way I thought of it. And because I'm a queen of a certain age, I can't remember how it morphed from Tequila Sunrise to Harmonica Sunbeam. But Harmonica Sunbeam is the only name I've used for drag, So sometimes some people do have a name for a little while and then they change it. And then, but I've always used this name ever since, So I just initially had the other names, but I never used them in a public platform. Harmonica Sunbeam is the only name, but I think that the name sounds inviting. It's
Mm-hmm.
It's friendly and positive
Right.
and welcoming. Yes. Yeah.
Oh, I totally agree. I think that was a great name that you moniker that you came up with because it's comforting, it's warm, it brings you in.
Yeah. Someone said that. Well, when
Yeah.
I think of Harmonica Sunbeam, I can consider the combination of sound and light. You know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I like it. I like it. Good job. Well, I got a question. What is your muse? What is the driving force that compelled you to become a drag performer?
Well, I'm not really sure. My
Hmm.
first experience ever getting in drag, was for a ballroom competition. So if you're familiar
Mm,
with the TV show Legendary that was on HBO Max, Paris Burning, the
right.
documentary, Pose, the TV show. So like I said, when I was coming out, between like 11th and 12th grade, I started to go to New York City to the Greenwich Street, Greenwich Village, Christopher Street piers. And it was on those trips that I became familiar with people in ballroom in the houses. And
Ah.
I eventually joined the House of Adonis. And I was a member, and
Mhm.
Paris Dupree, who had a ball called Paris is Burning, which is the documentary is named after, had a category called Butch Queen First Time in Drag at a Ball. So basically, that was a gay guy getting in drag for the first time for a competition. And I said, I wanted to do it. The House member said, okay, we got you. We'll get you all together. And somebody made my outfit, somebody did my hair, somebody did my makeup, and all I had to do was go out there and sell it. And sell it, I did. And to this day, there are still some bitches jealous that I won.
Well, you know what? Forget them, right?
They are.
You know, let them hate.
Yeah. And the
Let
thing
them
is,
hate.
if I wouldn't have won, it makes me wonder, would I have done it again? Would I have tried it
Ah.
again, or just given up easily? But I think I'm not that kind of a person. Um, it did make me curious about the performing art of drag. And so about a year or so later, I went to my first drag bar, which was in Newark, First Choice. It was a bar, not a drag bar, but it was a gay bar that had shows. And and
Ah.
that's where I did my first performance ever, was at First Choice in Newark, New Jersey, because I was born in Newark as well.
Okay, well, harmonica, that this is a great avenue of conversation because did Pose get it right? Were the portrayals of the house and the shows pretty accurate, pretty on the money?
They got it somewhat right, but they didn't want to steal people's whole stories. So they kind of made it
Ah,
their way. Like, you can see elements of certain things that were true, and then certain things that didn't quite go that way, just to not say, hey, we're ripping off somebody's story. Mhm.
got it, got it. Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. Okay,
Oh,
now before we
wait, here's a full circle for Pose, because for
oh,
season one and season two, I was a featured judge on Pose. Yes.
whoa, Miss
And I
Superstar.
was going to be a featured judge for season three, but that's when COVID was in, and
Right,
testing and all that. It was such a, like, and like when they call you to do it, like, and they were shooting in June, and my June schedule was already very, very busy, and I couldn't go
right,
like all the way to the Bronx to take a COVID test and come back, go to fitting, go to, what I mean, all that stuff. It was just too much, and my schedule that week just wouldn't allow it. So I'm upset that I didn't. But also, when I first heard about Pose, I auditioned for the role of Marsha P. Johnson. You know,
oh, whoa, whoa,
right?
whoa,
Season
yeah,
one, they had somebody playing Marsha P. Johnson. I auditioned for that role, and a friend of mine auditioned for the other role of Marsha's girlfriend, Sylvia Rivera. The two trans women that were responsible, like with the Stonewall riots.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I
Mm-hmm.
didn't get the part, and she didn't get the part. But then when the show came on, nobody got the part. I guess they got the cut. So when they asked me to be a featured judge, my agent at the time said, "Oh, don't do it. It's beneath you." Blah 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 blah. But I wanted to be a part of history. As a featured
Mm-hmm.
background person, you still get paid and stuff like that. I wouldn't have a speaking role or anything else like that. But if this show was only going to happen once, I wanted to be a part of that history. And so I went ahead and I did it. And then they called me again for the following 2 seasons, and I was able to do season 2, but not 3.
That was a really good decision that you made.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
This.
Smart, smart. Huh. Okay. Well, look, before we dig even deeper into your stellar entertainment career and your advocacy, I want to take you hand in hand through the corridors of time.
Mm.
So, yes, yes, take my hand, baby, take my hand. So that our audience can find out all about your backstory. So, you ready?
Mm-hmm. I'm ready. Here I am.
Okay. All right. Where were you born and raised?
Newark, New Jersey.
Jersey. Okay. Cool, cool. Now, I like to ask my guests this question because it gives us sort of like a window into what you are like as an adult. So here it is. What were you like as a little nipper, a kid? Give us like 3 qualities, attributes that best described you.
I was sarcastic.
No.
Yes. I had a smart answer for everything. But I was
Mm-hmm.
also a little shy, and I
Mm.
still am shy around people that I don't know. See, the drag helped me to, right, to open up more. Gives me an
Mm.
outlet to open up more. But basically, I'm a very reserved guy. Like if we went to a party tonight, I would be the one in the corner enjoying myself, but just in the corner. I like to be in the cut. I like to people watch. I don't have to be when I'm not in drag, I don't need to be the life of the party. Even when I'm in drag, I don't need to be the life of the party. But when you're in drag, you command so much attention just by being there,
Yeah.
but I'm really a very reserved and laid back person, and I've always have been. But I was a very sarcastic kid, and I was a very shy kid, but I also was I liked school a lot, and I liked learning a lot. So I was a very good student.
Mm. Okay, those are good qualities to have. Okay, did you get into like any trouble? Were you kind of like one of those kids that pretended to be, like shy but got into trouble? So were you
I
like,
think the only trouble I probably would get into is like, smart things I would say with my mouth. You know what I'm saying? And not officially being the class clown, but the one that you had to watch out for in a sense. But I was a good student, so I wasn't trouble in a really bad way. I think what happened for me was that my mother passed away between in the
oh,
summer right before I started 12th grade. So she passed away.
no, I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And so that last year, high
Mm.
school was a little bit difficult for me, especially
Yeah.
like I said, during like in 11th grade, I started to like kind of like discover myself and and start to meet other people who were out somewhat and gay, and so um, I rebelled somewhat in 12th grade only because it was like now I was living with my aunt and and I was just like like missing my mom and trying to see what this whole thing about being gay was about, so it was a lot,
Mhm.
so I probably was a handful to my aunt, unfortunately, because I was going through so much.
Was your coming out process a difficult, contentious one? How was that for you?
Well, it was like I think before my mother passed away, I think she knew something. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Because I would like, like I started getting new friends, and then I would say, oh, is it okay if we go to New York City, and just things like, it's like, wait a minute, who are these new friends? And you go into New York City and this and that and stuff. And although we never really had the discussion, I'm sure she knew, you know,
Right.
and so it was a slight quietly coming out, something that we don't ask don't tell kind of coming out. Even when I got to my aunt's house, like, I believe that, her and her boyfriend at the time, they knew, and it was a discussion, but it was like one of those things where you walk into a room and everyone goes quiet and you
Mm-hmm.
back
Yeah.
out and
Yeah.
the conversation continues. Yeah.
Got it. Got it. Okay. Okay. Let us fast forward, Harmonica, to the very first time you stepped on stage as a drag performer. Did you have misgivings? Were you trepidatious? Stage fright? How was that?
Well, like I said, I went to the drag show at First Choice and I said, wow, I can do that. And of course, anytime you want to do something for the first time, your friends are like, oh, yeah, right, go ahead. And you have all these people on your side willing to cheer you on and stuff. So although I was excited, I was very nervous, you know,
Mm.
and, but I had so much support that, of course, it went really, really well. But thank you, I did have some. I think I can say that I was a closeted drag queen for quite some time because I didn't want people knowing that I did drag. You know, the people who knew I
Ah.
did drag knew, but the people, no one else, I didn't really want anyone else to know. And it happened at First Choice where one time I was performing and a customer who was a little inebriated pulled my wig off during the performance. And by reaction, I just lost it and I turned around and I slammed him to the ground and I finished the performance and put my wig back on and everyone was, cheering and stuff. But I was really devastated and hurt because I kind of felt like you had exposed a part of me that I wasn't ready to tell everybody that was there. You know.
Lord, you came at him like
Oh
WWE.
yeah, yeah, but it was all by reflex of it all. Like,
Right.
how dare you? Like, really? Oh, and it was being recorded, and all you can see is me, and then the camera shakes, and right.
TMZ, TMZ.
And when the camera got back in focus, there I was making the rest of my money and finishing my song.
Whoa,
Mm.
whoa. Okay. Oh, all right. Okay. Oh, well, what happened to the guy that you slammed? Was he able to walk away
Well,
or what? What
they
happened?
put
What
him
happened
out
to
after
him?
that because it was a huge disrespect to the performer. And plus, I
Absolutely.
had, so many supporters in there. It was best that he'd leave the premises, because it wasn't going to end well for him, even after the slam.
I can understand that. Okay. Well, here's another question for
Hmm.
you. What challenges and obstacles have you faced establishing your brand?
Okay. Well, when I started doing drag, as you know, that there was no internet, all right, and there was no
Right.
social media, anything of that nature. So we started from the ground up. You had to either know somebody who was going to show you the ropes, or you learned the ropes hanging around the people who were there. And to
Mm-hmm.
that, I am very proud because I built my name up slow and steady. You know, opposed to
Okay.
having the help, having the help of the internet and social media to make your way into society as an entertainer. And so I think like anybody who steps on stage, you need thick skin. And in the world of drag, you definitely need it because you're going to get critiques from people who do drag. You're going to get critiques from people who don't do drag. And
Mm-hmm.
everything they say may not be pleasant to the ears, but there also may be some truth to it as well. So you have to take what you can get out of a criticism or a read or even a compliment and take what you can get out of it and just use it to the best, to make it work for you. Like, just because you tell me like, oh, I don't like that hair doesn't mean that I'm going to change this hair. That's just your opinion. But if I felt like the hair, if like wasn't the best for me, then maybe I will change it. But for the most part, you take the good with the bad, and you take what you can get from whatever anyone says to you. And a lot of times people don't. And I think also because of the fact that I came from a ballroom background first, I was used to being judged, because that's what happens. You
Mm.
present yourself before judges and they score you accordingly. So you learn the spirit of competition, and you learn the spirit of winning and losing, you know.
Right.
Um, and so the drag world can be just as harsh as, being judged in ballroom, you know. So you take what you can get from area experience, and you learn to grow. But if this is your passion, and you want to do something, you work on it and you perfect it and you keep doing it. And what worked out well for me was a lot of people who performed when I first started, they were impersonators. So they impersonated characters. Like, there was a Diana
Hmm.
Ross, there was a Aretha Franklin, there was a Gladys Knight. People tried their best to embody those individuals. Patti LaBelle, back in the day, that was the big thing. And my I thought of it like this: the only way that you're going to make it in this business is if you look exactly like somebody, because there was always work for that kind of stuff. Because in that
Hmm.
regard, a lot of those performers got booked at straight events, because oh, this is Liza Minnelli. Oh, it's, what I'm saying, and that drag was more acceptable than somebody just doing drag, so to speak. Or I said you had to have a gimmick to your act, and I happened to
Hmm.
be a funny person. And what happened was, when I performed that first choice, there was the only person that got paid was the host of the night,
Oh,
and the
okay.
host got paid $25, and everybody else worked for tips, and it would be about 10 to 12 people in the show, you know. And one day the host didn't show up, and nobody wanted to host, and I said, well, I'll do it. Shoot, $25 was like, 2000, you
Right.
know. And I did it, and the audience really took to me. They took to my style, because they didn't have they, I think for me, most of the acts that worked there were serious drag acts. There was nobody there who didn't take themselves,
Mm.
you know. And so I would come out and I would change costumes, and I would come out with a messed up wig, or I'd come out with a funny outfit. And people like that. People like to enjoy themselves. When we go out, we like to forget about whatever's going on in our lives, even if it's just for a second. If you can go somewhere, have a cocktail, dance a little bit, and and laugh a little bit, then your night is made. And that's what kind of like, what me hosting there provided for a lot of people. If I fail, or if I forgot something, one time I got all the way to the show and I didn't have any shoes, and I did the show in Timberland boots, and somebody else would have not went on, but the show must go on. It's just like, hey, listen, before you say anything, I, I forgot one of my shoes. Here's the one shoe here, but this is what I'm going to wear, so I won't be limping around. And so if you can address your imperfections or your flaws before somebody else can, then you've already won the battle. If you can't laugh at
Absolutely.
yourself, then there's a problem.
There's a big problem. Absolutely. And, I know that live performing is the hardest, the toughest form of entertainment, because I used to do stand up comedy back in the day.
Mm.
And yeah, I did. I was fairly good at it, but I had some issues and I didn't really pursue it. But, you get when you're on the stage doing what you do, what a comedian does, it's instant reaction, instant critique. And if you don't have that thick skin, if you're not confident in yourself, if you don't know yourself, you will be eaten alive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Well, what are your three most notable accomplishments as a drag performer, and why do you consider them as such?
Ooh. Okay. Um. Three most notable accomplishments. Well, let's see. Hmm. I in 2004,
Mm-hmm.
I opened up for Beyonce at the Roxy, right? The Roxy in New York City. And
Wow.
yes, so here's the story with that. I'll make it as short as I can. So when I after upon working at First Choice in New Jersey, I started
Mm-hmm.
working at Two Potato in New York City, a bar in Greenwich Village, right on Christopher Street. And so I then got my own night at Two Potato, and I used to sell VHS tapes of my shows, right, to the
Okay.
and Beyonce stylist Ty Hunter at the time would come to the show, and he would buy the tapes and he would show them on the tour bus. Okay,
Yeah.
so
Okay.
the Roxy was known, it was a big disco and a skating rink as well in Chelsea. And they were known to have pop up superstar appearances. And so, but like leaked, just like, it would be a secret, but it would leak eventually. And so,
Mm-hmm.
Beyonce was due to perform. And this was just after the breakup of Destiny's Child or her going solo.
Oh, okay.
So they called me up and asked, "Hey, we want Beyonce's coming to New York, and we want we want to involve you with this performance." So I went to the rehearsal, and I brought another drag queen friend of mine by the name of Jade Electra, and so I played the role of Beyonce, and Jade was a backup dancer, and there was another real backup dancer, and so we were going to do Baby Boy, and so that was that. So the night
Uh-huh.
came, and the crowd was packed. By this time, everybody knew it was Beyonce that was coming to the Roxy. It was packed. It was screaming, hollering. The lights go down, and then Baby Boy just starts, and we do the choreography. And then I turn around, and everyone's like, and I say, "Ladies and gentlemen, Beyonce!" And then she comes out, and she takes care of the rest of the song, and that was that. Yeah, and
Wow.
it's a big, big, wonderful memory to this day, and like one of the highlights of my career. Yes, so that's one.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that I have hosted so many pride parades and organizations and pride events for so many different organizations in New York and New Jersey. I mean, it's one thing to be a performer, right? And I enjoy
Right.
performing, but I also consider myself a much stronger hostess. Like, how like in the acting world they say, "Oh, singer, dancer, actor," like a singer who acts or actor who sings. Like a person
Mm-hmm.
has much their acting, they can sing, but their acting is much stronger. So sometimes, like in a Broadway thing, they make like, "Okay, well, how's your dancing?" "Oh, okay, well, I can dance a little, I can keep up." But this is where I really excel, and I excel a lot more at hosting because a lot of people
Okay.
songs, right? A lot of us can learn songs. So we all know the words to our favorite songs, right? And this is why
Mm-hmm.
sometimes as drag performers, we have a hard time with audiences because if I know all the words to the Little Kim song, you don't know all the words to the Little Kim song, then if I'm not really bringing it like I should, you feel like, well, I can do that too. She ain't doing nothing. So there are
Yeah.
more opportunities for hosts if you're not afraid to speak on the microphone, if you're good
Mm-hmm.
speaking on the microphone. You know what I'm saying? So
Mm-hmm.
that's where the opportunities lie. And I can always perform. Sometimes people ask me to perform, sometimes they don't. But more people need hosts, good hosts for their events, professional hosts who know where they're at and who they are in front of. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So I can go from hosting, a late night club event full of adults, with a little, PG-13 language, and to hosting an award ceremony where I'm not allowed to use any foul language. And so that makes a big, big difference. And so, like I said, that night when I worked at First Choice and no one wanted to host, it's because a lot of people were afraid of the microphone, you know, and
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather be more known as a hostess than a performer because there's so many more opportunities. I can take my years of hosting, of being a great host and talking and do a talk show, you know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So,
Ah.
So that's I'm very proud of that accomplishment of being one of New Jersey's most sought after hosts. And I say New Jersey, but I can say New York too. But like times have changed, and there's so many other people and stuff like that. But I am held in high regard when people mention my name as a hostess and performer.
Well, you know what? You are very strategic, and also you are very self-aware as a performer. You know what you're most comfortable with. Yeah, if you know what I'm trying to
Yeah,
communicate to
definitely.
you.
Here,
Yeah.
here's my way of doing things, right? So if I'm in a show, I'm gonna host like some people they come out to a number, right?
Hmm.
Show stars they come out to a number. I come out and I talk to them first because I know I can win them over. So it doesn't matter whether I do a Shirley Temple song or a Cardi B song. I've already won them over with my personality as a hostess.
Uh-huh.
You
Uh-huh.
know, so you let your
Hmm.
strongest suit lead up to it, and then you have them in the palm of your hand.
Absolutely. Okay. I think those were two notable things. Do
That's
you have another
two.
one?
Two. So let me say. Well, one of my accomplishments as being, a lot of, even though I didn't start Drag Story Hour, a lot of people think I started Drag Story Hour. But I won't take that as an accomplishment, but I will take it for the part that I am in the New York, New Jersey area. I am one of the more known and requested Drag Story Hour storytellers.
And let's talk about that.
Mhm.
What is it? Who does it benefit? What has been its impact?
All right, drag story hour is exactly what it sounds like. Where drag artists go into bookstores and libraries and festivals and parks and schools, and we read to children. Right, we read to children ages 3 to 8, or sometimes younger, and we read to them books. Promoting literacy, promoting self
Oh,
acceptance,
okay.
and promoting. Uh, the acceptance of others, and that it's okay to be different, which cuts down on bullying and creates allies, and it creates more open-minded youngsters, because
Hmm.
we're all different, and a lot of times, a lot of the stories that we were read when we were younger, those the stories that I read today, they didn't exist when we were younger. You didn't hear a
Ah,
story about a kid with two moms. You didn't hear a
right.
story about a kid with a white father and a black mother, or a little boy who liked to paint his nails, or a little girl who liked to play football. Those weren't real stories. And they say if you don't see your story, you should tell your story. That means that
Hmm.
tell your
Hmm.
story. And these stories help me reading these stories about it helps to normalize things that were stereotypically considered wrong. A boy wearing pink, for years, people still are stuck with that. A boy shouldn't wear pink, and girls shouldn't wear blue. This whole kind of thing. And we're here to break those stereotypes and say it's okay if you like pink, wear pink. There's stories now that support. Hey, anybody can wear pink. What's the big deal? Like, why are we making a big deal over stuff that shouldn't even be a big deal? And if I read to a group of kids a story about a kid with two moms, and then the next year somebody comes to their class and they found out this kid has two moms, now these kids are already normal. They're immune to that kind of that being a shock of a story because they've already
Hmm.
heard of it, and these kids can be allies to this new kid if somebody else was to give them crap about it, you know
Absolutely.
and now
Okay.
we have grown from just doing little kids. I do also middle school and high school students too. We also do
No.
for adults as well. Yes, so they're like the GSA groups, like all the different groups in high schools, and we read to them. Sometimes we read the children's books, and sometimes we read other books as well too. But it's the conversation, it's the dialogue, because the older they get, the more the conversation changes, you know.
Good point.
Like if I'm with kindergarten kids or first, they may say, "I like your hair," you know, you're real pretty. But a fifth grader might say, "Hey, well, I think like." I told somebody that I think I might be gay and these people made fun of me. How can I handle this? So now, we get into real serious issues. When I'm sure when I was younger, I didn't have any outlets to tell me. It took me a while to find somebody who was gay that I knew, and the other kid that was called gay in high school, I didn't want to be associated with that kid because I didn't want to be confirmed as gay. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Hmm. I
So
do.
now these younger kids have outlets. They have phone numbers and hotlines and the internet, all these things and groups in their schools to help them deal with their feelings or any confusion or anything that they may be feeling, and nice outlets because younger people sometimes you had older people who may or may not have had the best intention for you, showing you the way of this life. Do you understand what I'm saying?
I
Taking
do.
a younger person who is eager to find out, oh yeah, I'll show you the ropes. Yeah, you got to learn how to do this. You got to do this, and that's where problems come out. So
Hmm.
yeah.
Well, what is the most gratifying thing for you about participating in the Drag Queen Story Hour? And what do you say to parents who feel that their kids are being like wrongly influenced by drag culture?
Okay, so Um, what is gratifying about it is that I know that I'm doing a good thing and I'm being a positive role model for these individuals, and it's kind of full circle for me because at this point, some parents used to come see me perform in the club. They're now bringing their kids to see me at Story Hour.
Wow.
So it's like
Okay.
full circle kind of feeling, and like the program is totally optional. You do not have to attend. You do not have to take part. Your child doesn't have to take part. So if there's something that you don't understand or you don't want your kid to be a part of this, then they don't have to come. So it's as simple as that. But on the other hand, I believe that parents and caretakers that do allow their kids to come, they want them to see somebody who is different. They want
Mhm.
them to to see a positive role model. Some of these parents know that their kids are different, and they want that experience. Sometimes these story hour events bring about conversations once they get home.
I was gonna say that. Hmm.
hmm so it's like, and parents have come to me and say, I've never seen my child sit so engaged, so well connected, so like in awe of somebody reading them stories. I can't believe how quiet this person was, or how reserved, or how, like, just how into it they were. And of course, some of the kids come dressed up. They may wear their rainbows or their tutus and this and that, whatever. But and that's what drag is all about. It is. I tell audiences, that my definition of drag is anytime we dress up more fabulously than we normally do. So
I love that.
yeah, it really is, because if you were going to a New Year's Eve party, would you wear jeans and sneakers? No. If you were getting married, you're dressing up, you're taking it up a notch. If you were going to court, you're taking it up a notch, right? And that's all drag. It's all drag because I don't
Ah.
always look like this. So this is my drag. When you look sharp
Mhm.
for a night out on a town, that's your drag. Whether you want, listen, when those sports fans paint their faces the team colors, that's drag, honey. It's drag.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Because you don't normally look like that, and you are supporting and you are showing your support for this particular team. you
Absolutely.
know.
That makes a hell of a lot of sense. Yeah, that is so on point, Harmonica. Wow. Okay, let's chat a little bit about your careers as a singer and an actor. Let's talk about that. I mean, like I said, I want to be like you when I grow up. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I've done some film stuff, and I've done some TV stuff. Like I was in the movie Honey with Jessica Alba. I was in the movie World Trade Center, directed by Oliver Stone.
Whoa, okay.
Yeah, and even though it was a very serious movie, I had like a kind of like a little the most funny role in it. Like I didn't have any lines, but it was before the Twin Towers were hit by the plane, so it was
Oh.
a lighthearted part of the movie before everything went kind of like dark and stuff. I've also done some TV work, some TV shows. Like I said, I was the feature background on Pose. I did an episode of Law and Order SVU, and a few other shows that have come on. And so it's been really nice to see my name and to see my name roll at the end of credits. It's great getting these residual checks that come when you least expect it, even after you've done something from many years ago.
Mm.
While I was working at Escolita, the DJ there, we got together and I came up with 3 bitch tracks, singles that were released before iTunes, and they are still very popular to this day.
Mm.
Yeah. So it's funny because when most girls go on Drag Race, after they finish Drag Race, then I'm on this TV show. Oh, I'm releasing my album. Oh, I've already done all that stuff. You know what I mean? It's just like if I was to ever get on the show, I'm coming to the show with a resume, darling, honey. All I have to do is be seen enough episodes to get my foot in the door, and it's already there. Because I was totally against the show initially because I didn't want to be in a reality show and I didn't want to be in a competition. But the amount of exposure that the show gives you and the amount of opportunities that can come from being on that platform are really, really outstanding. And then you can go and do all the things that you want to do. And you don't have to be a winner to win, and that's with any reality show. Look at American Idol. Jennifer Hudson didn't win American Idol. Jennifer Hudson, she went on and she's made more money and done more things than people who were winners.
And an Oscar.
Yes. It's what you do with the opportunities that present to you,
And I understand that Beyonce, the Queen Bee, once called you on one of your birthdays. Is that correct?
Yes. So
talk about it. Talk about it now.
That event at the Roxy happened in December. My birthday's in January. Okay. And so I was in New York City and walking around Times Square, and a phone call came up with a Houston number. And I didn't recognize the number. I'm thinking, it's a bill collector, so I'm not going to answer this. So I let it go to voicemail. And when I listened to the message, it was Beyonce. She told me that Ty said it was my birthday, and she was calling to wish me a happy birthday. Well, the good thing about not answering the call was that I was able to record the voicemail, and I moved it onto a CD and play it at my birthday party every year like it's a fresh call.
Crafty.
Right.
You're crafty. You're crafty. I love it.
Listen, if this gets out to Beyonce, I need a new phone call, okay? Because the people are starting to get a hold of it that it's not fresh, okay? I need a new phone call to come to me.
That's so good. That is so Harmonica. That is so nice.
And here's another funny Beyonce story, because when I used to work at Radio City Music Hall from 1988 to 2007. So, a lot of artists came through there, and one Destiny's Child was coming through, and they, heavily security. And I worked in guest relations, so I was like an usher. And so Beyonce was coming through, and then they were whisking them through really fast. And I said, Beyonce. And then, she kept going. I said, it's Harmonica. stop, drop, and hey, oh my god! So like the people were worked like, and I wasn't in drag, but when I said it's harmonica, like she remembered and she stopped. Oh, 1 second. Hey, what's going on? Blah, blah, blah. All right, blah, blah, blah. And as my coworkers was like sitting there like, wow.
Yeah, that was a wow moment. That wow is
Right.
right.
Because you could have kept going, you know
Yeah.
what I mean? And when I initially said Beyonce, of course, when you're a star of that magnitude, lots of people scream your name. So you don't really pay attention. You kind of like smile and keep going. But when I said it's harmonica, it was like, harmonica, so yeah.
Well, you know what? Let me tell you something. That was fabulous.
Thank you.
All right, let's segue to your advocacy work for
Hmm.
LGBTQ plus and children's organizations. Let's talk about that a little bit.
Well, when I was coming out, this is when the whole we were dealing with the AIDS pandemic,
Yeah.
and we lost so many people, and it was a really sad situation because people were here and then they were gone, and a lot of our youth today don't realize how bad it was then. They see HIV, they hear about HIV and AIDS, and they know that it's manageable, but they don't know that at one point, or they don't realize that at one point it wasn't,
Right.
and it was a death sentence, and it happened fast. And we lost so many wonderful and talented people, that when I went back to school, I got my degree in community health.
Oh,
And
okay.
I worked, you're right, at a nonprofit organization, HIV organization, but I've always lent a hand helping so many different organizations through events and fundraisers and things like that, and also offering my services to because it's my part in giving back. These organizations are helping people, and I want to be able to help them. You know,
Absolutely.
and it's just great to be a part of something that's good. And for like if we don't get involved with something, then it's like, what are you doing with yourself? What do you really like? Is your life really all about you, or is your life about what you can do to help others? Because we never know when we may need help ourselves. And if you haven't been a person who's given to help other people, then you might find that people are reluctant to help you. You know.
I couldn't have said it any better, Harmonica. That is great. Before we go, I have one more question for you.
Uh-oh. One more question. Okay.
Okay, here it is. What makes a great drag performer?
What makes a great drag performer? I'm going to say thick skin,
Mm.
a passion for entertaining, because now with the popularity of Drag Race, people are in it for the money. We weren't in it for the money because there was no money. I told you, we worked for tips and the hostess got $25. We weren't in it for the money. We were in it for the passion of entertaining. And now some people just want to jump into it because they see all the potential money that you can make. But it's just like pro sports. Everybody's not going to make it there.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so a good drag queen is a person who is serious about doing drag, serious about practicing their craft, and having thick skin. Everybody's not on the same monetary budget to do drag the way they want to, but you will get there if you are resilient with your act and your craft.
Everybody listen to what she's talking about. Better recognize, baby. Okay, Harmonica Sunbeam, what appearances, projects do you have going on for the rest of the year?
Well, every year in April, I go to attend a pride event for men of larger sizes, right? They're going through a
Oh,
reconstruction. Initially, it was called Big Boy Pride,
yeah.
and they're changing the name now. So I've been the first lady of Big Boy Pride for 10 years, you know.
Right.
So I've been doing it for quite some time. Yes, every year in Orlando, a weekend of fellowship and
Uh-huh.
learning, and just, a really good time for men of larger size and those who admire them, and this particular pride event is not like other pride events, because a lot of these people who attend this event don't necessarily feel welcomed at other pride
Right,
events,
right.
you know and so it's been wonderful to be a part of that. I do have a really great show that is happening March 19th in Brooklyn. I can't say much about it yet because the advertising hasn't dropped yet, but it involves myself, some people who have done really well on Drag Race for themselves,
Uh-huh.
and stand up comedy. So
Wow.
look out for it. If you follow me on social media, then you'll eventually see. I don't know when the flyer will be out, but as of Tuesday, the 28th, I'm going into lockdown to prepare because it's a big moment for me, and I want my stuff to be, as great as it can be. So
Understood.
I'm gonna dip out for just a little bit, just to make sure that all those who attend will see me in my best light.
Well, I'm so glad you got on this show before you went into lockdown, baby. My God, that was
Yeah.
serendipity. I just bam,
Right.
bam. Thank
Oh,
you, babe.
mm.
Yeah,
Yeah. It's like this could be a very big opportunity for me. So
great.
I'll do to make it work, and I got to put the work into it.
Well,
And I know I have what it takes. I just have to put it all together so it works to my advantage.
well, good luck with that. Really, that's
Yeah.
great. How can we follow you on social media?
You can find me on Instagram and on Facebook under Harmonica Sunbeam. I also have a website, The Harmonica Sunbeam, for booking information and things of that nature. And you can also find me on Christian Mingle because I'm single. So there.
No. Christian Mingle?
Yes,
Oh
this is some.
my. Oh. Listen, is that an
Yeah,
exclusive for my audience?
yes, an
Oh my
exclusive.
God. Listen, number one, I got you here before lockdown, right? Got
Hmm.
you before lockdown. And number two, oh my goodness, Christian baby, we're going to mingle on Christian Mingle.
Hmm.
Ooh, baby. All right. Well, in all seriousness, Harmonica Sunbeam, it's been a blast. Thank you so much for showing up for Wyatt.
Thank you for having me, Wyatt.
You listen, you must come back.
Will do. We'll definitely do that.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Bye, everyone.
So there you have it. You can find the official Wyatt podcast page at WyattEvans.com, the go-to destination for LGBTQ plus news, features, commentary, and entertainment. And WyattEvans.com is visited by more than 100 countries on the regular. And all I can say to that is, hey, baby, hey, at WyattEvans.com, you'll find my smoking hot, HAWT hot, Nothing Can Tear Us Apart series of novels. And the latest installment is Frenzy! Yeah, Frenzy. And its predecessor is Rage. All at WyattEvans.com. And y'all, in April, the much anticipated sequel in the Nothing Can Tear Us Apart series of novels drops, y'all. And it's called Shattered. I said Shattered. And Lord, y'all, it's got all the heat, the passion, the action, the intrigue, all of that great stuff that'll blow you away that you know that's in my series of novels. So more information about that later. Now you can follow me, your host, Wyatt O'Brien Evans, and you can drop me a line at wyattonair@gmail.com. Follow me on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter. My social media is right there in front of your faces so you can peruse it. You know what I'm saying? Is right there. So, anywho, until next time, y'all. Woof! God damn it! Woof, woof, woof! Arf!